Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. Today we're talking about all for the asking. Talking about asking good questions to help inform Joe's decision-making practice. I'm Joe's communication partner. That means that I am trying to help him. First, I'm trying to extract the information we need. And second, trying to help him convey what he's trying to say. So let's start with questions, the questions. Here are the different areas in a person's life where you might be asking questions to determine preferences and needs and wants. So the areas are in favorites, so preferences, what do you like? Feelings, what's your emotional response to something? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you tired? Are you frustrated? Are you bored? Are you surprised? Social. How do you operate in social settings? Who are your friends? Who would you like to be friends with? What situations make you feel comfortable and accepted? What places or situations make you uncomfortable? Making choices, choosing. Well-being. Are you a morning person? Are you a night bird? How are you most comfortable? Like in Joe's case, position changes, frequent position changes are part of his well-being. Health. Doctor's appointments, things like that. And then supports. What kind of supports do you have or does the person have in their life already? Are they in a school setting still? Do they have a job? Do they have direct support providers? Are they in a group home setting? You know, what are those supports? I think I said family already. Caregivers. What are the supports? This way, if you look at all those different areas, you can help the person make preferences in those different areas. In a recent video, we talked about how we kind of divided Joe's life up into sections, and we talked about, family, school, social, financial, those kinds of areas. It helps if you can look at things almost as though you're checking off a to-do list. And then start with the things you know. So you want to reaffirm the person's preferences that you think you know. For example, Joe, do you like making decisions about your life every day? Yes? Do you want to make choices about your life every day? Is that important to you, to make your own choices? Yes? Tell me with your voice or touch my hand. Is it important to you to make choices every day? Yes. Are we practicing making choices every day? Yes, we are practicing every day. So I know that this is important to Joe because we've talked about it many times. And if I start there, then the next round of questions that I'm going to ask him are informed by that knowledge that I know that it's important for Joe to make some decisions. So if your person has a preference about where they'd like to work, or what they'd like to do, or where they'd like to travel, then you take that core preference and you ask the questions around it, going back to all of these areas. So you use those categories to help inform making more decisions and to help figure out what questions to ask. Sometimes it's hard to figure that out. So the other thing about starting with this is that it's practice in answering questions. So I have to remind myself, Joe, tell me with your voice or touch my hand. That is our known process for getting answers from Joe. That's his preference. That's what we've practiced. That's what we will continue to practice, until we find another way to do it or things change. This is how we're doing it right now. What's good about that, it's giving Joe the confidence that he will be heard. So I'm going to give you an example. This is our little SMART goal chart that we've been working on since the beginning of January. Joe's goal is to make more decisions about his life. So every day we have been jotting down little notes about the choices Joe is making that impact his life. So recently, Joe looked at the grocery sale paper with his direct support provider and chose steak, or a pot roast, I think it was. Yeah, right? He's laughing. And you're thinking, so how can someone with a G-tube eat pot roast, and why would they want that? It doesn't matter. The point is, and you just heard Joe respond, Joe's proud of himself for making those choices every day. Are you proud of yourself for making choices? Yes? Tell me with your voice or touch my hand. You said it was important to you. Are you proud of yourself for doing it? Does it make you feel like an adult when you make choices about your life? Yes. There you go. So when you're doing this, some of the core things going on here is relationship. So Joe needs to have good relationship with his communication partner, but it's also about using relationships that already exist in his life, whether it be at school, whether it be out in the community, to help him be able to carry out the things that he's asking for when we are asking him these questions. The decisions he's making when we are asking these questions. We need to allow control. So I don't know if Joe likes to have steak or meat or beef, because honestly, he doesn't have a lot of experience with it. But he asked for it. He wants to control what he's eating, even though it's limiting. His ability to eat is limiting, but he's expressing a desire to have more control over that. And he's 21 and he's an adult. And if he didn't have the need of a communication partner or eat through a G-tube, he would have more control. So how do we give him opportunities to control those things? So maybe allow isn't the best word. That sounds a little bit, bossy, but opportunities to control, maybe would have been a better thing to say. And then explore those choices. If they're not good choices, guess what? Joe is figuring out that that wasn't a good choice. Maybe he has the steak and we grind it up and we feed it to him through his G-tube and he's like, okay, done. That's not the point. The point is that he got it. He communicated that he wanted to try it and he tried it. I mean, that's what life is about, right? Trying new experiences and exploring the world around you and learning from your mistakes, learning from your successes. So here are some of the things in your toolkit. If you are working with a person who's nonverbal and you're trying to help them make more decisions in their life, you have a toolkit. Here are some of the things I would recommend putting in that toolkit. Photos. Now, if the person is visually impaired, photos might be a good prompt for you, but maybe not for them. But photos are good because you can take a picture of a thing. Let's say that the person makes a decision that they want to travel to Disney World. So obviously a picture of the Magic Kingdom would be or Mickey Mouse or something, a photo. We're going to go to Disney. Here are the questions that we are going to answer to determine what your decisions are about this trip to going to Disney. So maybe you could put pictures of different times of the year up, different seasons. Do you want to go in the fall or the spring or the summer or the winter? Do you want to go by plane? Do you want to go by train, bus, car? How long do you want to stay? Now, that might not be a picture, but you get the idea. You use pictures to help with decision making. If a person is nonverbal and they can manipulate a board or point, that is such a perfect way to communicate with a communication partner. Stories, social stories. We are going to Disney World. We will travel by plane. We will go pack your suitcase. We will get your ticket. We will go to the airport. We will get on the plane. We will be on the plane and we will do this. We will get off the plane. We will go to this airport. We will get a car and drive to our hotel. We will have our tickets for Disney. We will go to Disney. You know, we will do these things at Disney. So social stories, breaking down the things that make up a trip to Disney World into little sections with pictures, explanations, breaking it down piece by piece. So the person who's making the decisions has the opportunity to make even more choices. Do you want to go in the morning? How long do you want to stay? What rides do you want to do? What attractions do you want to see? What foods do you want to eat? We make these decisions ourselves from moment to moment without even really thinking about it. When you're working with a person who is nonverbal and who has very little control over their lives and is not accustomed to being able to make a decision, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of planning. So if you keep these things in mind, you can kind of, start coming up with a process, and then it becomes habit and it's really easy. Common interests. So maybe going to Disney World isn't going to be one of the decisions your person makes. Maybe they like to do certain things in their community. Go to a movie, go to a favorite restaurant. You have the common interests of liking the same kind of movie or going to the park, or walking or hiking or biking, driving, taking a car ride, common interests. That is really good for a communication partner and an individual to figure out, because it's more fun when you like what you're doing. And if you can share that, you can take the intrinsic knowledge you have as the communication partner about what you like, what you both like, and talk about it. Like if you liked playing a game, a particular game, and you notice things about playing that game, you can just chat away about it and then ask a question. It's all about finding ways to connect with a person who has challenges with communicating. And then observation. So that's probably the most important part of all of this, is what do you notice? Like right now, I notice that Joe is probably tired of being in his chair. He's stretching his body. So I'm going to ask him, Joe, are you tired of being in your chair? You need to get out of your chair now. Tell me with your voice or touch my hand. Is it time for you to get out of your chair? Yes. So that is exactly what we're going to do. Thanks for visiting with us this week. If you have any questions, please private message us on Facebook. Send us an email at transition2s@gmail.com. We hope this has been helpful to you, and we'll see you next time.